Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning. Man, I even sound like crap. Good grief. Okay, so it is the 23rd. And we are like, what, an hour late? Because, oh man, my phone decided to update itself in the middle of the night. I told it, no, wait until later. Then it decides, oh, okay, now we're just going to do it without telling you anything. So it updates. And then when it updates, it doesn't, you have to like unlock it again before it can like finish updating itself and everything. So yeah. So I wake up at my usual time and I go to the bathroom and I don't look at what the time was. I'm thinking it must be like 3 o'clock or something like that. So then I go back to sleep and I'm like, oh, it seems like it's going off a while. Is something wrong? What time is it? So I go and I check my phone and it's 7:30. So that's why I'm late today. Fuck you, Samsung. Oh, look, here comes everybody. They're all waiting. They're like, where is he? Yeah, so I'm sorry, guys. Well, I don't even have my chart started up yet. I didn't even eat. I immediately swearing and then immediately came down and started things. So I feel like our teacher just got, that is exactly what happened, man. Dude, I didn't just oversleep. I slept till 7:30. That's like 2 hours. Wow. It's so bad. And we got stuff to talk about too, of all days to do this. Because last night, Donald Trump came in and said that he's not going to sign the stimulus. I don't know if that's still the situation right now, but that was the situation when I went to sleep. Well, let's check CNBC, shall we? Everything's starting up here. Okay. 36.94. So he either gave in or what happened? Or maybe the market decided it doesn't matter. I could totally see them saying it doesn't matter because yeah, okay. S&P 500 rebounds from a 3-day losing streak even after Trump slams COVID stimulus bill. I think that what would happen is they'd say, nah, he can't do it, or they'll just he can not sign. Well, what would he do? So here's the thing: is I don't think that he would actually veto it. You wouldn't want to veto it in this situation. You would just let it sit, which is just worse, right? Because then Congress can't come back and we need to close this. This one was good. I'm gonna have to look at that one more. That's the largest that I've been able to get. I'm thinking, well, that one had some problems, but I was looking at that last night. Trump wants Robinhood traders to lose $2,000 instead of $600. Right? House Democrats will seek to pass a measure for $2,000 direct payments by unanimous consent on Thursday. There's got to be more to it than that. I don't know. He said that he wants larger payments, but he also wanted a bunch of other stuff, right? Well, they're going here. This is the regular session at the moment. Obviously, I'm not going to take a trade because I just woke up. Oh man, but if we had been trading, the treasuries are taking a serious dive as the dollar goes lower. Oh, of course, because okay. To the church. Last night, Donald Trump said he is not going to sign the stimulus bill. He wants direct payments of $2,000, not $600. The markets initially hit down pretty badly, but recovered. They recovered. And when we come over to the treasuries are getting batted down hard. And I believe that this indicates that the market believes that they're going to do the $2,000 direct payments. And that means more debt is going to be issued. I believe that is why the treasuries are hitting down the way that they are. Not particularly the most positive thing. Oil, still kind of struggling, but recovering last night at least. Gold's going to be going, right? Copper. Copper's on the rebound a little bit. Dollar. So dollar's not as low as it was at the beginning of the week, but it's going down hard. And by the way, yesterday, the dollar came up really strong. I believe that was off of Brexit headlines and so forth. And yeah, so that was kind of part of, if we come back over here to the ES, kind of, there was this thing right here, and it was like, well, what's going on? That was dollar strength. Yeah, we'll come back over here, and yeah, Bitcoin is a little bit higher, just a little bit today. I'm noticing it's really hard for Bitcoin to move, but you probably have to look at it like this, like it's compressed now. There's not time to switch it yet, is it? Should be getting close though. Why not try the line item veto? This seems the perfect case for it. No, because number one, he wants something more. Number two, the line item veto is not a thing. Nancy Pelosi called this last night. She tweeted out, the president has said what he wants and the Republicans should listen to. No way. No. Like, I don't think that this is over. I would be careful. Anthony Sacrambucci has been talking. Listen, everybody's talking up Bitcoin. I hold to my earlier point. Obviously, because of Ethereum features coming out being the biggest one, my prediction of a crash before the end of the year probably isn't going to happen anymore. But I still believe that there is a very strong case within the next 6 months that Bitcoin will just crater. And it's all it's going to take is like one thing, right? Something comes in. Let's say that this thing blows up. So I don't think that the market is analyzing this all the way. I know, I've slept in. Let's see. What else did she say? I don't think most people realize there's a mutant virus. No, they realize. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. We'll get to that one in a second. So first off, the stimulus. Here's the thing. Donald Trump said that he wants $2,000 direct payments to individuals. That is not it. There was also, there's all this shit in it that I don't like. And let's go back and look at his tweets, shall we? Twitter. He's probably tweeted a ton of stuff since then. He also did a video about why he's continuing to seek legal means to overturn the election. Newt Gingrich pens an election saying he will not accept Joe Biden as president. In the Washington Times published it. I'm so shocked. Where was the tweets? Okay, man, maybe I don't see it. I don't see the exact tweet. Or now I'm seeing stuff from the 20th. Are they gone? Where was the, or maybe it wasn't on Twitter. Signature verification, blah, 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 blah. He's asking the legislatures to overturn it. Well, a little bit of a dive there, by the way. Good grief. Okay, well. So my understanding of it is this, that Republicans were quite upset to see one thing that you got to understand is that they're passing two bills right now. There is the coronavirus stimulus bill and there's the government funding bill. So what has happened is conservatives have kind of conflated the two together and are calling them one bill when they're not. So that's where you get all of this. Look at all of this foreign aid that's in the bill. We don't need there to be any foreign aid. But that was part of the government funding bill. That was foreign aid that we were giving people already anyways. But they were quite upset to see all of these things that had absolutely nothing to do with coronavirus in there. And I think that Donald Trump was as well. And that the payments weren't large enough. Two, there are a lot of Republicans that think that the amount of money that we're spending is too much. And I don't know how much larger direct payments makes, but people will also, I think that there will be some Republicans that will be reluctant to do that. The House is going to pass it immediately, but here again, it's more about the Senate, right? So does the Senate go along with it? So you run into this situation, one, where they increase the payments and some Republicans don't want to go along with it. Two, they increase the payments, but that's not enough and Donald Trump wants even more changes to it, right? Which I believe is still a possibility that we're going to have to price in. So for the market to just like brush it off and move higher, I think is a little bit, I mean, I understand it, but I think it's a little, I would still be cautious because this could just be pulled out from underneath of us, right? Now, number two was, Now on the mutant virus from the UK, yeah. So it's a mutant virus. There's no evidence to indicate that it's more deadly than the regular coronavirus. It's just that it's more contagious. We've known about it for several weeks now. They are trying to limit it to the UK. I don't know if they're going to be able to. In fact, I think I'm even hearing some things that it's here in the United States. But we already have a vaccine out. It doesn't appear to affect the vaccine or have to roll back the vaccine. And yeah, I don't think that what's going on with that really affects anything. I don't believe that the United States is going to shut things down again, like full, like the Republican states at the very least aren't going to do it. So, the market did start to price this in on Monday because the UK shut down, and then they recovered quite easily. So, do you think a state like California should be able to sue the state of Utah to overturn the voters' votes? I believe that those states broke the law, broke the Constitution. Whether or not one state has the standing to do it, I don't know. But I do know that they did not have the authority to change those laws without changing them through the legislature. what should have happened is the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania should have struck it down as illegal. But the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is just doing whatever the heck it wants. They're not following the Constitution, because the Constitution, both of their state and of the United States, basically says that you have to change these things through laws. And you can't go and change election laws through, some unelected election official person. You know what I mean? So, I also believe that there are some areas, in particular Arizona, that probably shouldn't be certified. That is to say, I think that there are enough votes in Arizona that voted that were not eligible to vote to change the result there. More than enough, frankly. And I think that they have hard evidence of that, because they can go through all of the votes and they can go through the voters, and they have evidence that those voters aren't eligible. But the issue here is that all of that said, I don't think that you have the authority to overturn the result, right? Because it already happened. And that's another thing that just absolutely pisses me off, is in Georgia, they challenged the election laws. They said, we're challenging these before the vote, and they're saying, well, they haven't incurred harm yet or anything. No, these laws should have been overturned before the election, and then things would have been totally different. And I hope that Republicans fight this so that next time around it's not the same problem. And as for Bitcoin, why in the next 6 months? It is so high on a relative value basis, and we're not seeing people actually use the coin on the blockchain, that it is primed for a huge sell-off. It is just primed for a huge sell-off. But what has happened? Here's the thing that's so crazy about Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin is taking off at the moment because of the belief that it is a hedge against a falling US dollar, because over in the dollar, they're just printing money like crazy, okay? Did you guys read this Ripple thing yesterday? So the government is suing Ripple, and like everything that you need to know is in the complaint. But what was one of the things that was in the complaint was that Ripple was paying people to use it. That is to say that some of these people that are using Ripple actually said it was more expensive to use Ripple, but they used it because Ripple was paying them. So how did Ripple pay them to do it? They gave them Ripple. So they created Ripple out of thin air and then gave it to people, and then people sold it. So what is actually happening here? These crypto coins are doing the exact same thing that everybody complains about the Federal Reserve doing. Do you see? This is a house of cards. Bitcoin is even worse. They are doing this with Tether. We know it has been proven in court. It has been admitted in court that at one time, 60% of Ripple was nothing, was not backed. They give people loans on margin. They are printing like a central bank. So Bitcoin is not a hedge against central bank access. They are just as bad, if not worse, at this. And when people figure it out, this thing is going to go to practically nothing overnight. You will not be able to get out fast enough. I warn you. There is probably a little bit more room left, because when I look at it from a valuation perspective, it is way too high. But when I look at it from like a social media information saturation perspective, it's not there yet. So the large players are going to try and hold out, and we'll see how long they can make it. But I'm just saying, all it takes over there in Bitcoin, because of how high it is compared to the transactions in the blockchain, it just takes one whale sneezing and the whole thing will goodish. At the heart of the federal agency's complaint is a claim that XRP should be treated as a security like a share in the company rather than a currency. Correct. Because they can print new XRP whenever they want. They give it to people. People use it to manipulate the coin. The whole thing is just crazy. Like, it's crazy that this is going on, and then you got all of these yahoos that know almost nothing about what's going on in the cryptocurrency world, to be honest. Like, they're just like, they're in Bitcoin. They don't know anything about the technology, frankly. And they don't realize that they're doing the same thing that they're complaining about with the central banks. It's just, you couldn't make up a more ironic situation in Bitcoin, right? So it's kind of hard to be bearish because, it seems like they're able to hold prices really, really well. So, like, from a price action perspective, and like, we're not as high in social media hype as we were last time around, so it seems like it's not done. But from a valuation perspective, it's already too high. Somebody was asking me, do you know people that make money in the ZN? I know people that do it with treasuries, but not like I am trying to do. I'm trying to do it like the banks and just do it. Okay, so I got some food. Oh, wait. Text to speech here. What do you think about Goal? I've never heard of that, Kaka. By the way, welcome back. Is that some extra cryptocurrency? I don't know. Now, one thing is that, gold. Well, so, I think that gold is certainly on a rip today, and I think that they could probably make it back to 2000 sometime this year. But I'm a little concerned about the way that gold moves is concerning. Gold has taken it on the nose much harder than it should. There's some issues with gold, the way in the ecosystem, the way that it's traded. Here again, like, the issue I have with gold is that it is largely driven by speculation. There aren't very many people that are buying gold that actually need it, right? The people that buy gold, they don't like take it to their house or anything like that. It's just held. And there's actually this thing where the company that stores the gold, they have to charge you to store the gold, and that's how they make their money, is by storing the gold, right? But they don't go in and say, okay, you have an ounce of gold, now you have like 0.9 of an ounce of gold. No, instead what they say is that you still have an ounce of gold, but you owe us 0.1 of an ounce of gold. And so there's this, like, it's basically like they're creating gold. So there's like this amount of gold that increases and increases until essentially the amount of gold that is supposedly held out there is larger than the amount of gold that actually exists. So if something happened and all of a sudden everybody that wanted gold requested delivery, they wouldn't be able to give everybody all their gold. They would not be able to do that. So you can see why gold kind of ends up being a different thing. But it's a stable market. I'm sure that it probably will continue to go through its standard correlations and everything. But I think that a better hedge here is to either be, if you're concerned about inflation specifically, then you want to be in equities. And if you don't think that equities look good, but you're trying to hedge against the central banks, then I would be short the treasury. But see, once you start to think, okay, let's short the treasury then, and then you start going through the trade, right? You come over here and you look at the chart. Where's it? Let me pull up a chart. You come over here and you're like, okay, let's short the treasury. And then you realize, oh yeah, but then the treasury could come in and do something and spike it up on you really hard. And so people don't want to play it like that. Well, the thing that I think you should realize is that this could happen in anything. And here's the killer, is the dollar, right? What would happen to this market if all of a sudden the dollar went up to 91? We saw that happening yesterday when the euro just took a complete dive here off of Brexit negotiations not doing very well, and the E-mini sold off quite hard. It wasn't a very long, deep pullback, but it did sell off quite hard when it happened. So here the issue is that the biggest risk that we hold right now is a rising dollar, because everything right now is based off of the value of the dollar going down. Everybody is short the dollar. So if the dollar rises at all, here again, like somebody just sneezes, and then it's do you think that trading ES is less risky than trading gold? I think that investing in ES is less risky than investing in gold. Day trading it is a different thing because gold is so illiquid. And the the amount that it goes in the tick size is a lot. You're going to need a larger account to trade gold if you want to scalp. Trading it is a very different issue, right? Trading it doesn't really matter what goes on here, right? Because you're going to be taking it a different way either way. So trading it or scalping it really comes down to the specific oddities of that particular instrument. And the big thing that is special about the E-mini is that it's extremely liquid, and yet it still moves around a lot. And the thing about gold is that it moves around a lot, and it's a thin instrument. Even though there's bids and offers at every price in gold, it moves like a small tick stock. Okay, James Franey says we're reaching the final phase on a Brexit deal, says senior EU close to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. So they're buying up on Brexit here. Market kind of reacting to that a little bit. We could maybe buy it here if we could get a good spot here towards the lower end of this, I suppose. Okay. Well, I will try that sim trade there. I have some food to eat though. I yapped and yapped and yapped and yapped, and now it's I think I should eat. All right.
Kaka Silva says you have a lot of knowledge. Winston's mom says top of the hour, and while 26 watch speculator Seth eat breakfast and the markets move, will you please take a second to hit the like button? Thanks. Sugar Daddy says I just traded S for the first time. That was really juicy. A lot of juice. So much juice. The best juice.
That's funny. Let me come back over here for a second. I finished one half of my muffin. So Kaga's saying you know a lot of things. Well, I'm not so special. All you gotta do, read the CNBC front page every day. I read Zero Hedge a lot. Every morning, go and read the News Squawk morning briefing. And then have opinions about things. And that's all I'm doing. But I hope that when I sit and I talk about these things, that a big thing that people realize is that understanding the financial environment and the political environment matters to scalping. People want to go in and trade technicals without having to know what's going on. And I know it's alluring, but it just doesn't work. You have to have some idea of what's going on. Now, I am seeing this trade is kind of starting to fail now because there are other sources coming out saying we're still talking. So we've kind of got people trying to say it both ways at the moment.
Sugar Daddy says your stop was good.
Yeah, on the Brexit thing. Anyways,
Sugar Daddy says on point.
Yeah. Well, I'm really thinking that if I get something out of this, that I really want to let it ride. So I don't know. I didn't get the 20, so I've had more favorable than unfavorable, and I got the favorable first, which is good. So I think that means if this stops out, this means that I had a good trade and I should have gotten out of it earlier. But I'm still hearing and seeing stuff on Twitter, so let's let them sort it out. And I guess this is just gambling.
Winston's mom says, my main ambition as a gardener is to water my orange trees with gin. Then all I have to do is squeeze the juice into a glass. W.C. Fields.
Okay, well. Moment of truth coming up on us here soon, I think.
Sugar Daddy says, what did you have breakfast?
Just a muffin. Just a chocolate muffin.
Gary Rich says, good morning all. I just can't stay away. Lol.
You missed all of the things I said. Probably a ton of things that Gary would disagree with. Did you see the Ripple thing, though? I have to say, on the Ripple thing, to see the complaint against them and get hit like that brings me a little bit of satisfaction, because that has been one of the altcoins that I've looked at, and I'm like, well, the idea is good, but it looks to me like they're doing shady stuff. Like, I remember that being one of the ones I was like, well, it seems like it would be a good altcoin to invest in here, because I remember there was a period where it was like, let's get in on all the altcoins. Remember Ryblox? That one was crazy. And Ripple was one that looked like it was that I was interested in, but they had already pumped it up too high. The marketeer here saying it would be ironic if Brexit and the Great British Pound would get the US 10-year above 1%. Well, we're still quite a ways away from 1%, right? 1% is still way down at like 137.16 or something. 136.16, I think, actually. I would probably have to recalculate it again. Anyways, blow my nose here.
Sugar Daddy says, I like how S moves. Actually, I don't care. I like it because of the lower margins.
Yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to is most people are going to end up trading the micro because it's most appropriate for their risk profile. The way that the E-mini moves, though, is not necessarily the best for trading. I actually think that the way that the 10-year and the 30-year moves is you can build a better system off of it. Because it's so trendy, man, and it's like really, the difference between when it's ranging and when it's trending in the treasuries is really, really, separated. There's not really an in between like there is in the E-mini. There's an in between where you're not sure if it's going to chop on you or if it's going to trend or what's like right now, or I'm kind of like, well, what's it going to do? You know, whereas in the E-mini, it's like, you know, you're either stuck in a 3-tick range around a mid price or you're trending. And it's really obvious when it's doing it. Okay, so that move down there concerned me. I don't think that was news. I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything. Dominion Security Director files lawsuit against Trump. Well, that should be interesting. It looks like I'm losing this one. Anyways, I was doing some back testing last night, and
Sugar
I decided,
Daddy says, oh.
You know, I've done back tests where it's like, I'll do 2-to-1 risk. I'll do 3-to-1 risk. Usually 3-to-1 risk doesn't work as well as the 2-to-1 risk for me. And I really think that I've been looking for trades and kind of like optimizing them around 2-to-1 risk. But I'm starting to realize that if you really want to make a ton, well, not make a ton, but I guess there's consistency and then there's absolute money. And it seems to me that if I want to make like a consistent large amount of money on a monthly basis, that it's probably better to go for kind of more swing trades, like 5-to-1 reward, right? R factor. So I tried one. I just did a back test on one of them with a 5-to-1 ratio, and it was really good. I don't think that it didn't have like as good of a Sharpe ratio and everything else like that as my lower risk ones did, but you made more overall. Of course, I think in that one it was because it was making the money during the pandemic, and so. Well, I don't know. Some of those down moves kind of looked like some informed trading, but then they're able to bump back up like it's nothing. So I don't know. I think that one of my robots might have tried taking it there. Let's turn them on. Looks like they're going to go for the RTH low. And we're printing a significant decrease in cumulative delta here too, by the way. If you want to stay profitable and that's your tagline, which reminds me, traders can trade mugs, great last minute home party gifts. I don't know if it would reach it by Christmas now, but in the video description, I should have a link where you can go buy the mug. I think what I need to do is I need to, I was thinking about getting a bookshelf and putting it on the far side of the chalkboard. But now I'm thinking I need to put something right here. I need to put it right here where those guys are sitting. I do have kind of a little rack here, but then I could put the mug on that or something.
Gary Rich says 2 days ago the world seemed to fall down. The session ripped upwards, finishing strong. SP VIX was at the 31st of January VX27. Look how far it's dropped in 2 days.
Yeah. So let me tell you about this strategy that I've been working on. I've been trying to use my lines. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, I've got this thing here that draws these lines that tell you the average buyer and seller position. And you can see, for instance, here on a day where we're somewhat range bound at the moment, it's very difficult to stay above this dotted line. That's where the stops are. If we do, sometimes we will just stay above it and we'll have a trending day. And that's what happens because new money is coming into the market. But you'll also get these crosses like this. One thing that I tried was, if it crosses both of these, what is the probability that it continues down? It was actually, the probability was that it was going to reverse on it, but it was inconsistent. You couldn't really make a ton of money off of it, and it didn't happen that often, was kind of the big problem with that one. Anyways, so the gist of it was that a cross of this line doesn't really give you a probability of anything. It's not probabilistic. They make good targets, but they don't really give you probabilities in terms of what's going to happen. Right? They give you edge in terms of where things are going to happen. So then I started to look at it. Well, what if we started to look at this thing on a short-term basis, like just the orders in that 5-minute period, for instance? So I started doing that, and I said, okay, so if we close below the position, the stop out position area from the guys that got in the bar before, what happens? And I was able to find something that was a slight probabilistic edge. But when I started going through it, and I trained it just on this year's data, when I started looking at it, I found that, oh yeah, it seems no matter what I do, it makes way more money on shorts than it does on longs. And so what's happening to me over and over and over again, and something that's really frustrating with the strategies I'm trying to develop right now, is that if you... there's a tendency in the market when it's a sell, when the floor falls out from underneath the view on a sell, it falls out, it happens very, very quickly. Whereas on a buy, they take their time, they're trying to absorb as many contracts as they can on the buy, and they're trying to affect the market as little as possible. And so you get very different market behavior when you're moving up or when you're moving down, and everything that I do just ends up picking up on that behavior. And I think that in order to make a really consistent strategy, that I need to get it away from that. But so Gary talking about the past few sessions, it's very characteristic of what's been happening lately, right? It'll be like a big headline will come out and it's, okay, this has bad implications for the markets. And then they'll buy it back up to the highs, and in all of these cases, I think that there's reasons why maybe those headlines aren't as impactful on the market as we originally think. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't think that they're going back up to the highest because of that. I think that they're just going up to the highest because they've literally just trained themselves to just always buy the dip no matter what. You know what I mean? If you had a display shelf or a ladder book shelf, you could set up a display and you could include your wife's masks and anything else. Yeah. I mean, it would be a little blurry like Jolteon is there, but you would be able to see the trader's going to trade mug at least. The problem with that, though, is that it kind of juts out a little bit. So I'm not entirely sure. Plus, that I have that going out. I don't know. I have this shelf right here on the side, and I could just replace that with a longer and larger shelf, potentially. I don't know. We'll think about it. Hi, Mom. How are you? That's they've basically, well, her name is Winston's mom, so it's kind of just turned into her nickname. You have to sugar daddies. You've been around here for like what, a week. You have to realize probably nobody. Well, I don't know. There's a couple that are starting to give her a run for her money, but I think that very few people have interacted with this channel as much as Win, and she doesn't even really trade. I was gonna say almost, because Vlad posts so much. We're missing him today. He probably doesn't catch that the stream went up. But he'll probably come back later and post on the video. He posts on every video. Posting on the video helps a lot to boost the videos. It's kind of funny. Sometimes you guys will get in on a conversation in a video, like yesterday you did, and then YouTube will start showing it. It's like, oh man. We've got this weird channel that I think the YouTube algorithm doesn't completely know what to do with it. Because not everybody wants to watch these on replay, but there is a group of people that very much want to. He's probably dead stuck. Nah, he probably just started trading on his own and hasn't checked to see that we're alive again. Because we were late. Because he comes in early. He probably went, oh, I guess he's on vacation now, like a lot of you guys did. Mm-mm. Okay, well, that's interesting. The original is going short there. I don't know. These ones kind of bother me. So the thing with these robots is that they're picking up on an edge that has gone throughout the year. And so a lot of the time their entries and stuff is going to seem a little random or late, frankly. And, but over the past year, it works out. But the thing that I have such a hard time with the algorithms is that, like, if I want to buy down in here, right? So I don't know. Maybe I need to try and build a robot that's based off of more of taking a specific price that I think has some sort of an edge and see if that improves things, because I haven't really tried something like that. So if you're always using closing prices and stuff to get in and out, then that might just make you a target. Gave them clothes. Yeah, I would think that a ferret wouldn't like clothes. I mean, those coats that they got can be warm. Okay, so we're getting some pretty big orders here in the 10-year. Well, that's interesting. Ministers are hearing free trade deal with the EU has been agreed, though nothing formally confirmed yet and no cabinet convened yet. So I think that it is turning out that there is something there on the Brexit, but that not everybody has been informed yet. Okay, so here comes the gas stocks. Let's see how oil reacts here. Well, E-mini seems to be fluttering around off of it. The oil is moving up. So I would hope that that would also push the E-mini up, but the correlations I found between those two things is very loose. I am told the coronavirus funding bill will not reach the president until Thursday or Friday, says Jake Sherman. He's going to sign it on New Year's Eve. But just that it's going to reach the president is good, I guess. But I haven't heard anything from McConnell. I want to hear from McConnell. I'm still concerned about, yeah. If I had a pet, it would be the chicken. Yep, that's what I do. I have a chicken. You know what happened, though, was a raccoon got in there and killed half of them. So half of them. It killed 4 of them, actually. No, 3 of them. He killed 3 of them. He killed one that one day, and then he killed the other 2, and there's 3 left. But he killed some of the best ones. And now the ones that are left are kind of like fighting amongst themselves, and none of them are making eggs right now. I mean, it's cold out there too, but yeah. So we'll have baby chicks in the spring, I guess. And I have the sun conures. Yeah. The sun conures have just been in the basement, and I think that they were really happy for a while, but I'm wondering about them now. I need to get down there and clean it up a bit, but I think that they need to come and have some fun with Daddy for a couple of these days, because they've been alone in the cage too much, and I think that they've been keeping each other company really well. But I'm thinking that Jerry's gotten bored now with it after a few months. But we had to move them down there because it was a problem with the baby. How did you like the? So we had 6 chickens, and they gave us more eggs than we could eat in the summer. We were giving a lot of eggs away. We're gonna have to get more. We built a pretty nice coop for them, and that was the thing, was building the coop ended up being quite the project. I need to put a camera and laser to protect the chamber. Yeah. Well, we just, really caged it in. So the thing is that like we had stuff to keep the chickens in, but there was still like areas along the top, because what we've got is we've got a house, and then there's a covered chicken run, and the covered chicken run had was on one side is the wall. And so what was happening is the raccoons were getting in by the wall. So we had to build some stuff along the side and use some chicken wire and stuff so that the cage was just completely enclosed so that they couldn't get in. And when we did that, they stopped coming. So I'm pretty sure it's safe now. Probably on this Brexit thing, it looks like that the euro is being pretty sensitive to it. So I bet that on an official announcement here that the euro will jump. Brannigan here saying that you would want to buy euro Great British Pound, which, obviously makes sense. Okay, Nick Gutrich says the feeling on the UK side is that a deal is indeed close, but it's not in the bag yet. Public Health England, Hopkins new variant in UK is very different to the one seen in South Africa. Both are more transmissible. Okay. Home sales news order. There's Vlad. Yeah. We were just talking about you earlier, Vlad, because we were saying, well, Win probably has spent more time on the channel, except for maybe Vlad, who recently posts more. But you weren't there, and it's like, well, you must not have seen that we were up yet because I slept in, yeah. Can you believe it? It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that Samsung can just decide to force update your phone whenever they want. Like, it asked me twice, but both times I was doing something, so I said, remind me later. So here I'm thinking, oh, it should be able to remind me later, but then it just does it on its own in the middle of the night. And then it doesn't rebound all the way so that it can be an actual alarm. It's awful. Good thing I wake up so early so it'll never cause me to like miss work, but man. That's not the first time that I've started the stream late, is it? I think there was one other time that I started the stream late. It's funny because one of the things I do from time to time watch content on actual streaming, because even though most of it isn't really relevant to what we do and why people watch this stream, it's interesting just to see where the industry is going. But most of it is based off of gaming. And so there's these guys always coming in, you know, they'll say, well, this person comes in and complains that they can't be successful streaming. But then I go and I look at their schedule and like they don't stream consistently at all, or like they streamed like 1 or 2 times or something like that. And I'm sitting here like, well, I've streamed pretty much literally every day for 3 years, and there are some other stock related streams out there that I kind of wonder how they do it sometimes, because it's like they don't do anything, they don't say anything, and they have like hundreds of viewers, and I'm like, how do they do that? I have no clue how they do it, but it's kind of funny. It's like the consistency doesn't seem to matter at all. Okay, so yeah, Reginald got stopped out. It seems to me that Reginald is just not, this is just a bad time for him. It's the wrong trade. Okay, Nancy Pelosi and Mr. President signed the bill to keep the government and urged McConnell and McCarthy to agree with the Democrat unanimous consent request for $2,000 direct payments. This can be done by noon on Christmas Eve. So just in case you didn't realize that it's not a done thing, even though the market seems to be saying that it's a done thing. Let's see here. We are scheduled to go in for a pro forma session tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay. They got like 7 days. Well, the thing is, I think the issue that they have, well, one, there's the government funding bill, right? So you don't want to, run out of government funding. So that's on one side. But then I think the other side is that there's the eviction moratorium, right? So doesn't the eviction moratorium end at the end of the year? So now, but here's another big thing though. From the research that I did last night, I wasn't able to find it in the bill, but I was able to find a couple of articles about it, and they were only extending it to the end of January. So we still have this flood of evictions that are likely to come along. Hopefully that's not the case, but I'm hoping that by January that people will know that it's coming at that point, and then they will get everything squared away, but we'll see. Okay, so a little drop there. That might be robots reading all these tweets coming through about Pelosi. And now the news squawk's retweeting it. I saw it from Nancy herself. Wait, was I following Nancy? Is that how I got it? Or did I see somebody retweet it? Oh, I didn't. I don't know if I really want to follow Nancy Pelosi, though. Probably telling the poor they'd be rich if they had money, taking both sides. Market's still news driven. Oh, you're probably talking about why are some of these channels so successful? No, I think it's even more complicated than that, because like some of these are literally like there's no talking, there's no trading. It's just literally a picture of a chart and chat, and that's it. And I don't know what attracts people to them. Maybe it's the case that if I just sat and shut up, that would be us too. That my unpopular political opinions drive them away. I don't know. Fauci, I see most Americans being vaccinated by the end of the summer. Okay, there's not enough doses out there for that to happen, but we'll see. Oh. Derry is telling me to take the stimulus money and buy cocaine with it. No. I am a little like, okay. Well, it was like last time. Like last time I knew, okay, I need to put this money to effective use to help grow the economy is what I need to do. So I put it into a longer term portfolio. But to be honest, I haven't even used it all. I'm still pretty I'm keeping a large amount of cash on hand still and waiting for the right opportunities. So do I take the stimulus and put it straight in? Well, I don't think that is what I want to do, because I only want to have 5 stocks, and I don't really feel like I need, I guess it would be more and I could just distribute more, but I'm kind of starting to think, okay, we can diversify with it. So maybe between that and hopefully I get, I haven't done any calculations or anything, but because I had a kid this year and because just that alone, I'm pretty sure that we'll get a pretty hefty tax return. So I'm thinking maybe I can use that as a down payment on a rental property or something. Though I'm unsure about the rental property. Kind of more of like, with the baby right now, do we really have the time to work with it? But, and is this a good time? I don't know. The housing market is kind of weird right now, right? Because things aren't really very good, but a lot of people are moving, and so it's keeping prices actually relatively high. You want to rent? Yeah, I do. Well, I want to do things that grow the capital. Like the thing that drives me crazy about wealth redistribution, right? I finally saw somebody that got it. They were saying, okay, I'm not allowed to go to my local store, but I am allowed to go to the big box retailer like Walmart. And then they're going to give me this huge stimulus, but I'm not allowed to go anywhere to spend it except for Walmart. So where does the money actually go? The money is going to go from my pocket into Walmart's hands, right? So there's this whole thing that there's like the idea, like the basic universal income and everything, this idea that, it will grow the economy really big. But I don't think that what people realize is that doesn't necessarily grow the economy. Or if it does grow the economy, like would it be better to give money to Walmart, buy a bunch of retail by a bunch of regular people spending more money on Walmart, or would it be better to just give Walmart the money directly? And the reality is that, well, one, it has to do with what Walmart does with the money once they get it. For instance, if they just use it to buy back shares, then I don't think that really helps, right? But if they use that to grow, then that's good. But is there really a lot of growth out there for Walmart? They've kind of saturated the markets, right? So you see, this idea that the wealth redistribution grows the economy is kind of a misnomer. What it does is it just moves money from one section of the economy to the other. So when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about where do I want to invest my money so that it will grow and it will make the greatest impact, where should that be? That's why one of the places that I want to be in is rare earth minerals, because that's an important thing that the United States is going to have to get up on, right? Sugar Daddy says gold. See, and that's the thing. Like, gold doesn't help anybody. Gold doesn't grow. It's just a speculative. It's just a speculation. No, I think it needs to go to where it grows the economy. So then we take a step back. Does renting to people do that? Well, I don't know. I mean, people need to rent. And maybe I would be a better landlord than other people. I don't know. You can borrow my dog as a tax write-off and independent. No, I don't think I need it. So here's the thing. This is really complicated, and I'm not exactly sure if this is the way it's going to work, but this is what I think is going to happen. I'm hearing more Brexit stuff. This stimulus bill, you get money for kids. Now, my wife is divorced, and they have an agreement because they have 3 kids that they switch off one of the kids every year. And this year was our off year. So this last year, we were only able to claim 1 dependent. This year, we'll be able to claim 2 dependents. And then we'll be able to claim our baby too. So we'll be able to claim 3 dependents. Okay. Well, the stimulus was basically all based on having a tax credit or whatever on our taxes this year and giving it to you early, which I believe means that when I file my taxes, that they will owe me an extra, credit for my kids that wasn't claimed last year that are claimed this year. Right. So depending on a couple of other things and stuff, I'm probably going to get a a pretty decent return. There you go, Gary. Owning physical metals is like a savings account or hedge for future inflation. Well, this is where I was saying earlier, though, that like if I'm concerned about inflation, I think I would rather be in stocks. At least at the moment, I would rather be in stocks. There's a certain point at which it's not so hot, but you'll get a huge rise in stocks first, and then you kind of become range bound, like in the 70s, right? The Wall Street Journal central banks tweets most recessions begin when rising interest rates or distressed financial markets undercut demand for goods and services. Greg IP explains why the 2020 recession was wholly different. Bitfinex tweeting. In December of 2017, Bitcoin went up 40% the day after the subpoena was sent to Bitfinex and Tether. In April 2019, a bull market was triggered just before the catastrophic news about Tether was about to be exposed by the New York Attorney General. These aren't happy coincidences. So Bitfinex kind of saying that the crypto market being able to withstand the XRP thing for a day or two is not necessarily a good thing. What do you do when the stock market crashes? Buy more. This is part of why I still have a decent amount of cash. Because I don't think that some of these stocks are fairly valued. And I think that there's still potential for shocks. I think that at some point this year there's going to be a severe rise in the dollar and a very quick decrease in the stock market that might be buyable. And I just know that the propensity for that, both just as of the last few years and just overall, is high. That I want to keep a good amount of cash on hand to be able to buy the dip. Anyways, so back to the whole rental property thing. You're saying it's too much time and all that sort of stuff, but I don't care about that. Why not only buy stocks after the crash and gold before the crash? Well, no, I mean, you can't. It's really hard to time it, right? If you're all in and all out, it's hard to time it. So it's better to have a certain amount in and then have a certain amount waiting so that when the opportunity comes, you can get in, because then you will be able to lower your cost basis, but you're not completely giving up on all the gains. Which is what's happening with me. My portfolio is up 50%, even though I'm not even fully invested. Of course, we could also just throw it into futures and blow it all, but but that was where I would feel like I was doing something wrong. Like when I make money, and especially if we make money through the stream and then we blow it on something, like that's okay. But like when we got money from the government that I kind of don't even really feel like we should get, I feel like that I'm obligated to make sure that it benefits the country the most. And I know that it doesn't benefit the country the most just going out and buying things. So I have to invest in something. I guess, and that's where I kind of look at it on tier. Like, what are the things that help you the most, right? And I think, well, we should write them down. We should write them on the chalkboard up here. I don't want to erase my DOM, but I think I kind of have to. I think we're gonna have to. I don't even know if you can read that stuff. No, yeah, I don't think you can. Did I just put it up too high? Oh, I just put it up too high. Right on the chalkboard, I will take less trades per day 5,000 times. Okay, hold on. Let's fix this. Can we see? Okay, you can barely not see that. There, that's better. I don't know if probably can't really see it though. Yeah, you can see that something's written up there, but you can't read it. That's okay. I can see it. Let's see if the board falls down. Who wants to bet? If it falls down, I'll be really impressed. Because it is screwed on there pretty tight. Teach us Arabic. I should learn Arabic. I need to finish learning Chinese. Forever Real says, my problem is opposite. I don't take enough trades today. Sometimes I quit too early because I make good money and let some good opportunities pass me by. Well, this is an interesting thing is when I go back through and I do my back testing and everything, and I find specific setups that seem to be pretty good. They don't take very many trades a day. They only take 1 or 2 trades per day, and it's really not enough. Like 1 or 2 trades per day is too inconsistent to really get a good sharp and good consistent return. I think that we need to take more trades per day than that. So I thought, oh, okay. We'll just take all of these algorithms and a bunch of them and run them all, and then that them together should take enough trades. But like Brandon and Sean haven't been taking trades, so I'm kind of starting to think that one's not going to work out. But it's Christmas, maybe it should be like January that I should worry about it. But then the other thing that I was doing was last night, I was on TikTok and there was this one guy that I've seen on there that I don't know how successful he is. He has an algorithm that he sells that he shows the stats on and they look okay. But he definitely knows what he's doing, right? He's been involved on the business side. So, hearing him, I was like, okay, this might be a guy that's worth getting some ideas. And his whole thing was like, if you really want to do this, you need to be like 5-to-1 R ratio. I was like, whoa. When I'm testing stuff, sometimes I won't even test it at 3. because it usually didn't seem to do as well. So I just kind of looked at one of them and thought, okay, well, here's one that kind of seems like it's okay at catching runners. What happens if I take 5-1 risk? Now, granted, the stop that it was taking was pretty big to do that too, but I did 5-1. And the thing is that all of the stats held up. Like the reward, the profit factor stayed the same. I think the Sharpe ratio went down just a tiny bit, but the amount of money that it made went up huge. Who's the name of the guy? I'll look him up. I liked him. I mean, so I'm not going to, I just want to be clear. I'm not giving like an endorsement. Like I think this guy is completely legitimate and anything like that. It's just like the one or two guys that I've run across on TikTok that are doing futures and at the very least know something of what they're talking about, right? His name is J. Leon Trader. And he has a website called beanstalkstrategies.com, and he sells his algorithm. He sells his algorithm and he shows you the back test results in one of his TikToks. But I couldn't really read it. It was like the text was too small. It was positive, but I'm averaging 7, 8, 9 when I should be around 12 to 15 in a 3-hour window. That's multiple markets. So. Anyways, so just doing that one experiment, I was like, oh. I don't know. I don't know how the strategy works or if it's any good, but I just know that he does understand futures and trading and that he actually says reasonable things. Like he's not making like crazy promises. He's very much like, look, like you need to look at the stats and evidence of things and stuff. So I like him, but he was saying R factor of 5. And when I tried an R factor of 5, all of the normal stats stayed the same, but it made like 4 times as much money. Like the amount of money that it made overall was more. So it used to be, it was like, well, okay, it seems like I've found some things that can kind of maybe be consistent, but they don't really make very much. But then if I turn back around and I try and use a really, really high R factor, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this thing only wins 20% of the time, but it makes like $100,000 off of one contract in a year while still holding a relatively okay risk reward. Now, the one that I tested last night was, you know, it mostly made money during March. And so that one, I don't think that I could actually take it live. But there's a couple of ideas that I've done where I think I could go back and try and make it work with a longer trade. There's some that I thought that they were one way. And then when I actually back tested it and everything, I found that it was the opposite. And some of those actually ended up being pretty high probability trades. But now I'm thinking, well, what if I gave it a really, really high R factor, though? Then maybe those would work the way that I thought they did. So I think that during my next little bout of back testing, that I will spend more time trying to find more swing strategies, and we'll see if we can run swings on micros. That's what I'm thinking. But I also still want to take a decent number of trades. Well, I don't know. We'll see. The thing is if you're hitting 20% and you're only taking one trade per day, that's not going to be very consistent. And the other thing is, what does the drawdown end up looking like? Because I would like to keep it to something that like you could pass a combine with, but Mighty Nix, I hit the bell. Well, so Mighty, we started late, so that's probably why you didn't get the notification. Do you trade NQ? No. NQ scares the hell out of me. I don't get how you people trade it. I guess if you were gonna swing it, it could maybe work out, but scalping that thing is just too fast. That's crazy. I don't know how you guys do it. Maybe with markets calming down a little bit, maybe it'll become tradable, but this market right now is pretty slow, and I bet you that NQ would have been better. At least movement wise, if you're trying to scalp something. It's so fast. I also kind of wonder though, what would be a good one? Shall we look at my strategies? I will look at them. You guys can help me maybe. I've had strategies in the past that worked better than these, but then I retested them on this and they didn't work as well. The one that worked really well was this VWAP thing. Volume weighted moving average breakout. For some reason, really high profit factor and Sharpe ratio. So let's sort them first by net profit, right? Okay, so this inventory breakout one. This is the one that, like, I was really happy with it, but then since I've been running it live, it doesn't take trades for whatever reason. Do people still give a fruitcake for the garbage? We got sent a fruitcake. My wife was like, ugh, she hates them. Okay, so here are the breakout ones. Oh, their ultimate filters actually was one that... So this was running a bunch of moving average crossover strategies, and it found one that actually did okay. But the reason that one makes as much money as it does is because of the number of trades that it takes, right? And then these ones right here, these like this one right here was the one that I tested last night. So the issue with this one, if I can double click on it and get it to load here, look at it. It makes $19,000 on short trades, and it has a profit factor of 1.15. But on the long trades, it only makes $6,000 and a profit factor of 1.06. Slightly different percent profitable amount, but it just happens a lot less, right? 581 versus 760. So there's some issues with these strategies, right? I don't know who that is. VWAP with super trend combo is very accurate. I'll try that. VWAP and super trend, we could write that out right now. It would take a while to run it though, because you have to have tick replay on, right? I have somewhere in here, I have a VWAP strategy. Oh, why is it not saved? Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay, anyway. So then we go and we do it by Sharpe ratio, and then you kind of get these. So here's one that I did that was aces, and I added a little filter to it. And that filter made it incredibly accurate, but it doesn't happen very often. So that one's probably doesn't count. And then we get to some of these inventory breakout ones. Now these ones are okay. I actually added a little bit of risk management. So I've added some things like if you have X bad trades in a row, you quit the day. If you have X% loss for the day, you quit. So I've done that. That helps a little bit. I was actually surprised in most of those cases. The number of good trades that ends up missing out on is about equal to the number of bad trades that you end up missing out on, and it just kind of brings your results in a little bit better. So that's cool. Probably there's some more sophisticated risk management methods that I could use. Certainly something that I want to do is, or that I've had a hard time getting to work, that I would really like to get to work, is something that can really let things run. So I would really like to have something that wins, 40-45% of the time, but is still able to catch big runners as well. You know what I mean? By the way, on this thing, I'm going to So 5 to 1 would be there, right? So. Do you trade automated strategies? So I do a lot of programming. I have a lot of videos about programming on my page. I have yet to find a strategy that I thought would be measurably better than my own hand trading. So I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe some of these I would have made some money and would have avoided some of the pitfalls that befell me this past year. Because I have to admit, I made some big mistakes this year and lost money. And I have to say, this past 3-4 weeks hasn't been great. No. I think I've had far too many times where I don't know how to say. I blew it. This is really all it comes down to. I do think that I could change some things around so that I only buy down here and only sell down here, but I don't know. The one that I found that was really effective was based off of when the VWAP and my own this one was so interesting. So where did it go? Wait, bring the strategies back up. Inventory spread cross. This one right here. One of the higher profit factors. No, I thought I had one that was above 1. I guess not. Well, anyways, this one right here. Oh, and it does better on the short trades too. Well, the way that this guy works is when there is a difference between what my inventory cost basis says and what the VWAP says in relation to price, it takes a trade off of it. And it's able to get a really high win rate off of doing that. So, see, it's able to get a 55% win rate. So that to me was that I read that one as proof that this really does have some edge to it, that you look at what the people typically use, which is the VWAP, because the closest analog to this is VWAP. And then when my thing says something different, you trade my thing and you have a 55% chance of winning. That was pretty good. So of course it's taking it between here and here. So keep that in mind. But the issue is it just doesn't take enough trades, right? Like if it's going to be like R ratio of 1 or R ratio of 2, it needs to take like 4 to 8 trades a day. So I went about trying to find one of those last night, and I got one, but it picks up on shorts. Can you please do a scream? Oh, no, you know what? I can't. That how the there's this guy on TikTok that has been teaching us how to do hard rock screams, and it's weird stuff, man. But it's not like a second nature thing to me at all. The CFTC sent us a happy holidays. Look, everybody on Twitter. Happy holidays from the CFTC. Aw, thank you, CFTC. Now get back to work and start doing your effing job taking care of all those dang scammers on YouTube. Good grief. When I lived in South Korea, Kagagi was dog, bulgogi is beef, and we just didn't see cats and dogs running around in the streets. They still had wet markets in 84. Ugh. I would have to say something. That was a funny scream. I don't want to like yell really loud into the microphone, so. Oh man, so back to over here. Let me show you another one that's really interesting. There's some of these, like these TSI ones, is kind of weird. This TSI one actually did work, but it didn't make very much. Oh yeah, it was over here. I don't know why this one doesn't take more trades. That one's like way too. Oh, there's the slip. Slip is really interesting. I should probably run slip. I should probably. Will it let me see the analysis of it? Well, let me see. It does it. Nah, usually when you try and go back and look at it off of the saved, it doesn't show you the trades. I should probably try running that one, but I'm pretty sure that if you run slip live, that it's not going to get the prices that this says it will. Anyways, where's the one that I was looking for? Double bottom right here. So this one is a simple setup. Oh, come on. Sometimes it's hard to get it to flip. There's still some issues with the strategy analyzer and memory and stuff. But this one, it's basically when you get a pivot, you know, and it stops to the tick, the same spot twice, which you can see doesn't actually happen that often. I was doing it on a 5-minute chart. It's only happened 207 times this year. But if you take it with a risk reward of 2, it works out pretty good. It makes $20,000. And that was the one that I went back and I said, okay, what if I take 5-to-1 risk reward? And that one worked really, really weird. Well, but here's the thing that's so weird about it. So it's literally doing like, oh, where's the freaking pen? Wonder what I got to do to make the chalkboard in the background look sharper to you. Well, I could maybe... I could change the film ISO and make the lens in and then make the depth bigger. I don't know if we'll really want to do that. I don't know if you really care to see the chalkboard. We'll do it down here. So what it's doing is you got like a bars like this, and it comes, and then it comes down like this, and you get this line like that, right? That's what it's doing. And then it needs a bar that closes above the previous bar's high, like this. To confirm. So at this point it would get in, okay? Double bottom. Okay. Look at this, look at the stats on it. 40% win rate. But it catches really good winners. And I had to hold, oh, come on. I wish it would show it. Wait, let me try it. Let me try it again. New strategy analyzer. Here we are. Okay, so look at it. Average, oh, let's do it by ticks. Are there 40% wins greater than losses? Yes, by double. That's how it makes money. Look at the average losing trade is 34 ticks and the average winning trade is 72 ticks. So what it's doing is it's catching this setup here, right? And it's taking it long here. And more than 60% of the time, it will actually come down here and go a little bit lower, but then eventually move higher. And not only that, but to almost 32 ticks. Isn't that interesting? So I'm wondering if this one is like a multi-setup. Like you want to see you get a double and you want to see it fail, and then you let it fail by so much and then you take it. It's a quite unexpected result, don't you think? Now, there's some of my strategies also that I probably could try a profit or an R factor less than 1. But I just, I'm really wary about those. But some of these do clearly show some edge on equal risk reward. So if it can increase it by taking the higher risk, then I think that would work out. Market is stuck. Well, they weren't willing to take out the overnight high yet, were they? But if we look at the delta here, this, I would be careful about saying it's stuck. Just remember, the tendency is going to be in markets that a downtrending market is going to be fast and an uptrending market is going to be slow. The reason that this happens is because of the differences in risk profiles in those types of action and the fact that there's not enough liquidity for the large players to really make the moves that they want. So when things are going down, they have to panic and sell everything very, very quickly. And when things are going up, they try to be slow and methodical about it and slowly gather as many contracts as they can without affecting the market. So it's the number of, let me put it this way, the number of really big, breakout down bars that you're going to see is probably going to be almost double the number of upside breakout bars that you're going to get in ES. Okay, Gary says, what is your criteria for swing versus a scalp trade in ticks and points and holding times? Okay, so I generally consider a swing trade to be something where you take it like at the beginning of the day and hold it most of the day, or maybe you hold it 2 or 3 days. That to me is a swing trade. But for the purposes of the discussion that we're having now, I'm changing it to that I'm calling a swing trade a trade that has a 5-to-1 risk reward, or sorry, R factor 5, right? Basically, I'm sitting down and I'm saying, I think I need to do more investigation into high R factor trades, is what I'm looking at. Now, the issue is getting something with a high R factor but still works with a relatively small stop, right? Like 16 ticks is reasonable, but like, can you get something that's 5-to-1 and only hold an 8-tick stop on the ES? That would be pretty insane if you can find something that works like that, right? Then maybe we could do that. And if it was 8 and then 5, wait, what does that? That ends up being 40 ticks, which ends up being, no, it doesn't end up being $200, is it? No, that's 10 points. That's $50, right? Yeah. Risk $10, make $50, of course. I just need to think about it in terms of dollars per point, and then why was that hard for me to calculate in my head? Swing trade to me is everything where I can go to the kitchen or the bathroom. There you go. Well, if I was taking 8 ticks risk and 5-point target, or 40-point target, 40 tick target, blah, 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 that wouldn't necessarily be so much of a swing trade, would it? So I'll look into it more. Actually, we could do this right now. One that we could try. If I had money, I would divorce my wife. Good grief, dude. So I think that the best one to do would be to use the base ace. Does he not have... Okay, we're gonna have to change him a little bit. I'm gonna do it off screen because I don't want you to necessarily see how ace works. Yeah. This. I need these. And we need to set them up here too. Yes. So, and we're going to make the stop be 2 ticks. And the reward factor be 5. Compile. No, let's turn off debug mode. That will help a little bit. Have you tried to test in percentage terms for gains and times to hold? No. So why do you think that percentage would work better? I mean, if you're doing it percentage of what? Because if you're just doing it like percentage of the S&P 500, then the difference between them isn't going to be very significant, right? Would allow me to do my back testing much further back. Giving it 50% isn't very good. I don't think it is. Okay, where did my strategy analyzer go? Okay, here's ace. Reward factor 5, stop 8. Make sure we're including commissions. And this needs to run to today. Okay, we'll run that. Should almost immediately. It actually is almost there on the long side, but not quite. Now, ace 2. Now, ace 5 actually has a lot more traits. Let's try ace 5. Ace 5, I think, already has that stuff. Yeah, target 1. But if I say 5... No, doesn't work. It's Final Fantasy. It's the Final Fantasy victory theme. Man. Uncultured swine. I'm not even a huge fan of Final Fantasy, but I played the first one. I'm not a huge fan of RPGs. Anyways. If it moves 1 or 2% in your favor over X times, take profits as an example. Okay, but okay. 1 or 2% of what? Of your account? Is that what you mean? I guess because once you get once you get into percentages could be more useful if you're wanting to manage a risk on multiple contracts. But all of these tests that I'm doing is just one contract all in, all out. You know what I mean? But I have done strategies on some of these where it'll take 2 contracts and it will take one at a shorter target and then move the rest up to break even and all that stuff. And it actually made things worse. It was quite disheartening because it was a lot of work to figure out and get it to work, and then it was worse. Managing the daily loss and everything helped, but like moving things to break even and stuff on that strategy, at least, that made things worse. So another one that I've tried is trying to set your target and stop and everything based off of like an ATR or some sort of a volatility measurement. Okay, yeah, of the measured move or current range it's in, I have done that. So I have tried doing it as a multiple of the ATR from a certain range. And I wasn't able to get that one to work better than my set targets either. Maybe it was because that one doesn't make any sense. That one should work, right? Hold on, I need to blow my nose. I think that I may need to go back and redo that one. Like, I don't think on scalping, on a scalping day, it seems to me that if you go in and you try and say, like, what is the ATR of the last hour, that works. I think that if I was to do that, I probably would need to be a much larger time frame, and then you run into issues of like the RTH and all of that. So maybe what I need to do is I need to go back and do it as a multiple of the ATR of on a daily basis, and maybe that would improve it. And then when the market's moving, we should be able to take more, and when the market's not moving, we should be able to take less. And that seems like an improvement, but I'm still stuck on like, I think I need to find a better setup for it. Like, I'm going back through these and I'm thinking, which of these will give me the best, is best suited for trying to get something to run. It might be this. I don't know. This one right here, it'll take 15 minutes to run and it'll probably screw up the stream, so I won't run it. Oh, and it's time to go. Oh man, I'm like way late. Okay, well, I gotta get going. We will still be here tomorrow, so we can do more on this tomorrow. But I will catch you later. Stay